Hey, Meg. Is it me? I can't hear you.
There we go.
Oh, good.
There I am.
Great. You look gorgeous.
Aww.
What's going on? You gotta go to a party or something?
No, I've got my leggings on.
I see. That's the
And
Zoom professional look, huh? That's good.
my eyes are a bit blurry though.
Yeah. That's what happens when you age, huh?
Feeling it.
I know, me too. These days. So how's things with you?
Yeah, I think this is I'm coming into my third bleed here.
Right.
So third cycle, and I feel like we've done so much in such a short time. And the space feels amazing. The property feels amazing. Mark and Lisa are great. Willem's adjusting with the girls and he's going to a little homeschool I love. It's like it's all just kind of lining up.
Oh, good. So when did you move? Not too long.
End of Feb with the floods.
Really?
That was pretty intense.
That must have been hellish.
A little.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I was like, what am I doing?
Oh my goodness.
I just had to get out of that place too. It felt like I would have been flooded in there for weeks and I just couldn't.
Definitely. So you got out of there on time then, just before the flood?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I got out of there and then it didn't rain for that day of unloading, and then I got in here and then it rained, but there was just mud and the bus was leaking and it was just a mission. But it's fine. Like I feel so cozy and safe, and I love the bus. I love the property. It was the right decision. Yeah.
It looks like quite luxurious. Oh, cute. Super cute.
It's awesome. And then that's my bathroom in there.
Oh, it's got the Japanese thing on it.
Yeah, Noren.
And
you can sort of see my bathroom through there, and my bedroom is right at the back. Yeah.
But I'll just explain to my audiences, like, who you are and what you've been up to, a little bit in Japanese. And I'll probably, ask you, why have you moved into a bus? But I'll just explain to them a little bit about your background too. Little old back in the day.
But don't forget the high heels and red lips.
Louboutin heels and lipsticks.
Louboutin.
Age as well you went through. So I'll explain a little bit about that in Japanese, probably be able to understand a little bit. Yes. So 今日はですね、ホリスティックプレイスニュースレターのインタビューに、エボエね、ファウンダーのメグをお迎えしてます。エボエ、今リニューアルをして、こんな感じの可愛いパッケージングになっているんですけれども、ね。I use them all the time too. They are excellent. Refining toner and serum. I love them.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Very good. You've done an amazing job. So, 私もよくシーラムとあとこのトナーねよく使っているんですけれども、その他にもオメガ369というオイルがあったりね、クレンジングもこれ大きさが旅行用にちょうどいいのでよく持ち歩いたりしています。で、メグとはもう知り合って何年になりますかね。結構、I don't know how long I've known you for now.
14 years?
Something like that. At the beginning of Evohe, so how long has it been around now?
So 15 years this year.
Oh, wow. So must have been that long, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
そう、メグとは知り合ってね、14年ぐらいになります。初めて出会ったのはね、メグがまだエボエを立ち上げたばっかりで、I remember the little green snakish label. で、エボエがまだね、全然ラベルが違ってですね、私が当時働いていたヘルス&ニュートリションセンター、ゴーバイタというね、ゴールドコーストにあるヘルスフードショップに働いてた時にね、メグがセールスに営業に来てね、その時に初めてメグに出会って、その後いろんな人を介してね、メグと仲良くなるようにお付き合いするようになりました。で、昔メグもね、ヒッピーっぽかったよね。今もヒッピーっぽいけどね。
そうですね。
そうですね、そうですね。ね、レボエの、成功を得て、一時期は、なんだっけ、ベンツのファッションショーとかにね、メイクで行ってたよね、シドニーね。行ったりとか、what's that one? Executive magazine or something you were featured in?Yeah,
concierge.
Yes. ね、いろんな、ラグジュアリーなね、こちらのマガジンにも特集をされたりとか、ルブタンのヒールを履いてね、化粧パッチリして、赤いシャネルのリップ的な、ね、社長時代も経験して、今、it's almost like a back to your roots, huh?
Yeah, with a bit of balance.
With a bit of balance.
Bit of balance.
Yes. ね昨年ね、サンシャインコーストにね、メグが目をつけてというかね、で、今、ずっと住んでいたゴールドコーストのヒンターランドを引っ越して、サンシャインコーストの広い広大な土地にね、あとはバスを買って改造して今住んでます。もう結構典型的なヒッピーズ way to live. Almost. I see lots of them in Byron. So
this is like luxury camping. I
call it. Yes.
Because I have a bath. So
wow, that's amazing. Yeah, upgrade, huh? Premium camping style, luxurious bathroom, huh? Or something like that. That's amazing. Yeah. So, how did you come up with an idea of living in a bus in, Sunshine Coast? Yes.
Well, I guess when I hear you refer to my past and that Louboutin Chanel lipstick kind of chapter that I had, and the ambition and the always comparing myself and the stress of that world. From being there to then burnout on the other side of that, and then finding this middle way, I think that's what this move represents. It's sort of like a middle way for me where I feel really content with a simple life, and I actually feel richer than I've ever felt. So chasing all that world, all it got me was burnout. But it got me humble, and I feel like that's what this living situation represents. So I'm living with my son's godparents on their property. So I feel like I have this kinship of community and family that have my back, and I have their back as well. Like it's a really nice exchange. So I'm sort of living the dream, really, and I have this freedom, and I also feel like I'm not living beyond my means. So as a solo mama, I can manage this. So I have very little stress in my life.
That's important, isn't it? As a solo parent.
Yeah.
As much as we could, we gotta reduce the stress level as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, so that sounds pretty amazing, and it's an amazing bus that I could tell, and quite luxury too. Yeah, so I've known you for a long time now, but I guess what I wanted to ask you today is mainly on self-care and self-nurturing, which you have been talking about ever since I think I met. But I guess that practice has become very important part of your life after what you have gone through in such a short span of time.
Yeah.
And I'm still quite sort of, amazed how you held yourself together during those difficult times. And I personally know that what you have gone through, but would you mind sharing maybe brief description, short version instead of like 3 days reading essay?
Well, essentially, I experienced 9 deaths of people close to me in 6 years. So I'm 47 now, and yeah, I guess from 39 to 45, yeah, that was the period of big loss and grief for me. Yeah, so the last 2 years, 3 years have been my healing on full-time, yeah, practice.
Yes.
In recovering, I guess, from, it's sort of, they call it grief fatigue. Yeah, so it's when one grief just piles on top of the other.
Yeah.
By the time my fish died, so that was the 10th thing.
Fish
so
died.
When my fish died, number 10, I just lost it.
Oh, did you? So that was a trigger.
Yeah.
Wow. Death of the fish. It's all about accumulation, isn't it? It's not like how big the event is. I think it's just accumulation of, some events, some small, and then when you, I guess, reach that saturation point.
Yeah, there's only so much we can bear,
Definitely. Definitely.
And I guess I was gathering tools the whole way. From when I was caring for my husband through leukemia, there's certain tools that I utilized then that I still use now, but along the way I've just gathered more, and I guess it starts at one level and then you can just go deeper and deeper with the tools. So for example, one of my tools when I was caring for Baz, my husband, was when I'd put moisturizer on, because that was the only self-care that I had time for in a day, was just to brush my teeth and put oil on. And that was the time when I'd do mirror work. So I'd look at myself in the eyes and I'd speak to myself and ask myself what I needed. And, it was really profound. And I still do that. But I guess now I have more understanding of my nervous system and the science behind all of these things, which makes me feel even more confident with my message of self-care, like how crucial it is. It's like at the time it was just this lifeline and it was all I had, whereas now I understand why I need to do those things. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you mentioned little bit about your self-nurturing practice while Buzz was, I guess, while you are looking after your husband at the terminal stage of cancer. What else did you do, which you are still doing as a caring and self-nurturing practice?
Well, I think the thing I still love, even though I don't have fires burning like I used to, I still like to be really efficient with my self-care. So even when I'm washing the dishes, I'll have some little self-care practice. So back then I used to have a mint bush on the windowsill and I'd just eat a piece of mint while I was washing the dishes, because I hated washing the dishes. There were so many dishes all the time. and I just have this like toxic feeling in myself. So I would try and offset that with a sensation of minty freshness, and then I'd think about the soap and the warm water, and I'd just turn anything mundane into something a bit magical. So now I've sort of developed that practice, and it's a little bit funny. It's sort of an infamous meditation that I do. It's called the toilet cubicle meditation. So I actually have this whole process that I do sitting on the toilet because I'm a busy mum. I mean, my life isn't hectic like it was, but we teach this in workplaces. So for childcare centres and teachers and other carers who are working in hospitals and stuff like that, I teach them my toilet cubicle meditation. And it's profound. Like I utilize self-soothing techniques, you know, that are based on polyvagal nervous system science, and yeah, all these sort of sensory tools, which if I give you an example, like I always have this little pouch close by, and it's always got lip balm and miso soup sachets and tea bags. Yeah, and just like throat spray and chocolate, like stuff that's like an immediate reprieve for my nervous system if I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed. And so then I have that sensory kind of regulation that happens.
Yes.
And once my system is soothed, then I can go a little bit deeper into my internal dialogue, how I'm talking to myself.
Yes.
And that's where the really deep work happens when it comes to self-care. So it's not just about pampering, it's about finding the pathways to real compassion for myself. And we throw the word around a lot, you know, self-love, but it takes so much discipline from my experience to get to the true self-connection.
Yeah, it needs consistency and discipline, huh?
It is like burpees and doing your taxes. It's you got to work out.
Because it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget. Yes. And I guess women like us went through a lot in raising children on our own, and financial responsibilities, and then other responsibilities comes with it as well. It's a lot to, you know, take on.
Yeah.
Small lady. It's like us, isn't it? So taking care of yourself first, you have always talked about it, is the most important thing, isn't it?
It is. And now that I feel like I've been doing that more consistently, I feel like I do have more capacity. But the way that I'm doing it these days, and in the early days too, I used to segment. So when I was really overwhelmed, I would just segment, okay, we're just going to get from breakfast to lunch, and then I'm going to have a go at lunch to dinner, and I'd have to just section up the day. Whereas now I feel like I sort of section all the parts of me. So I'm more receptive to the parts of me that feel like I'm comparing, or the parts of me that are worried about something, or the parts of me that think I'm not good enough, or all the parts that I'm sort of like trying to fix and push away. I actually bring them in now. And I find I have more capacity then, because they're not draining me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then I'm actually able to have more true empathy for my son, and then my inner circle, and then the people that I work with. So I'm actually able to be more in the world, offering this from a genuine, sustainable place. Whereas I think in the past, I was like kind of picking it up and running with it, but not really doing the work. I think that it takes time, you know. I feel like we're all learning, and whatever anyone does to take care of themselves is bravo, you know. Like, I don't want to tell people how to do it. It's just part of me feels like I can accompany people now. Yeah. So it seems like the corporate world and workplaces are listening more to this, because they're having results of such high turnover of staff, so much burnout. it costs so much to replace staff as well. So I feel like I'm working with people who are in the front line, you know, who are really
amazing.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. So
yeah, especially in times like this year, everything is so uncertain.
Yeah.
And many people have been rattled in a way in the last couple of years. So I think, looking after yourself, especially mentally and emotionally, is quite important.
Well, yeah, that's the whole foundation, really.
Definitely. So you talked about toilet cubicle meditation. Sounds like very practical because everyone goes to the toilet and it's your
so efficient
private sort of, Space. Yes. And you had a little, I think, guideline somewhere, yes? How to do that. Is that I think I've the a little diagram of,
oh good. Send it out.
Yes, I might share that with my audience so that they can use that tips to do a little self-nurturing practice every day in toilet cubicle. Yes. Good. So I guess you've always talked about self-care and self-nurturing. I remember the story you told me like very early stage after I met you that even in the airplane, you have to put your oxygen mask on yourself first, or your children or your family. And that's the most important thing. And what does, I guess, self-care, self-nurturing mean to you? And why is it important?
I guess, I kind of refer to the past and what it was. And I always saw it as a tool to recover because I'd experienced burnout so much. It was more of a self-preservation survival tool, whereas now it feels like it's become part of my life, so much so that these elevated emotions that I was longing for all this time, like contentment and appreciation and like that true feeling of peacefulness, are showing up more in my life as evidence of it's not just about pushing through or surviving the day. There's actually even more beautiful qualities of emotion that can come from self-care. Like it just gets deeper. You know, it's not on the surface, it's much deeper. And even science is proving this now. Like Dr. Dan Siegel just did a talk about how gratitude, compassion, and awe are self-seeding emotions, like that if you really feel them, they grow on their own. And I'm like, oh, I feel like that. I feel like I've been harvesting, or no, what's the word? Just nurturing just that skerrick of true gratitude and true compassion and true awe, and they just get bigger and bigger. And it's like, oh, I can actually learn from pleasure now instead of from pain. I feel like all that learning was so painful, and it's just sort of tipping over into,
Amazing. Yes, I've done the NLP practitioner course. And I've learned that how, I guess, maintaining the emotional state and how it affects the reality that you're surrounded with. And because I have also experienced a lot of pain and suffering, I was used to, I think, that has become my emotional home. Although I didn't like how I was feeling, a part of me was craving to go back to the emotional home. And it's very, very hard to let that go because it almost becomes like a comfort zone for me to be in pain, or to be suffering. So learning how to, I guess, maintain emotional state of content, feeling safe or happy, that required like a lot of practice for me
Yeah.
too. It's
Yeah.
and it's I still practice that every day so that I don't forget and I don't go back to the suffering and pain.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I don't think we can do it on our own. Like, there's a part of me that wants to be really independent and sovereign and, you know, have that equality in myself. But I also know that the really deep, intentional friendships that I have and relationships have been what accompany me through those really hard times of when I might forget or, yeah.
Yes.
And
exactly.
when I just, hey?
Constant reminder is needed, huh?
Of just an accompaniment. It's like, yeah, friends that can really listen without trying to fix me or turn the subject back onto them. You know, like actually having people that can listen has been a true blessing for me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a journey you've been through the last
You too, hey?
Yeah.
Have you heard of heart maths?
No. What's that?
So that's similar to what you were saying with the it's a practice where you literally just breathe in and out of your physical heart, but you have an elevated emotion with it. So in my toilet cubicle meditation, I do it around the hands. So it's kind of easy to get to genuine appreciation when you look at your hands and you feel your hands and it's like, oh yeah, my hands work really hard and they've done really good for me. And I have that genuine appreciation. And then if I breathe in and out of my physical heart space with that feeling of appreciation, they can measure the electromagnetic field and see that there's cohesion in my field. So when I walk out into the world, I'm creating much less conflict than if I'm all hunched and contracted and cranky.
Makes sense.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So that I'm loving how science is sort of proving what I have been testing myself. I need that evidence sometimes to know that I'm on track.
Yes, for sure. Yes, what you have been doing is wonderful, Meg.
Yeah, you too, darling. We're getting it. We're still here, you know.
Still learning. Still learning for me. I haven't got the idea yet, but so other than toilet cubicle meditation practice, what can women, especially like working moms like ourselves, can do to look after ourselves on day-to-day basis?
I think it's for the one thing I really connect with is busy women and understanding the need for our self-care to be efficient and part of the everyday. So I take a cup of tea and chocolate into the shower with me. You know, I multitask everything. You know, I make my washing up enjoyable. It's like when I'm at the kettle waiting for it to boil, I might do some squats at the bench. Like I contain it within my home, I guess. I make my home a refuge. And everywhere I look, that it's something beautiful or something meaningful. So I kind of feel like having meaning in the mundane and every day is where I've had the most benefit or result, rather than waiting for a 2-day workshop or a retreat next year, or, you know, like I try and bring it into the daily. So even if I'm sleeping badly, I'll listen to binaural beats, or I'll just make sure those base things are really covered. So good sleep, good food, good supplements, doing things that nourish me. Yeah, it's all that stuff that we know. And I have a list on my fridge to remind me.
Oh, really?
Of course, yeah. At the moment, I'm going for equality, integrity, reciprocity, gratitude, compassion, or, you know, like I just have little reminders everywhere of what state I want to be in.
That's important.
Yeah, but I don't talk myself out of the uncomfortable feelings either. I make them all welcome. So I make all of the parts welcome, just as I would to my 5-year-old. I speak to myself more like I would my best friend or a child. So I really work on my inner dialogue and how I'm speaking to myself. Because back in the day, some of the ways that I spoke to myself, I would never speak to a dear friend like that. So it's like, well, why would I let myself speak to myself like that? So yeah, that's that real internal work that no one sees. It's just for you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I started to learn that acknowledging, no matter how negative the feeling is, acknowledging that very important. It's yes, it's not all about positive affirmation and, you know, positive and all that. It's okay to feel that way, and that's, I think, self-acceptance.
Yeah, and it can be very uncomfortable in the process.
Very uncomfortable. Very miserable too. But you have to go through that.
You kind of do. I think you do. I don't know that you can jump and do some quantum leap. I think you have to go through. But it, you know, then you have people to remind you that you're going to get through it and it will pass. And that's what I guess being resourced as well has been another really big key for me, is gathering my resources. You know, all of those things add up.
Yes. Yes, sure.
Yeah.
It's very important as well. Other questions that I have. I wanted to know about online event called Take 30 that you run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It sounds very interesting. If you could
tell me it was
more about that.
It's just like an SOS course that we do for mental health fast first aid. It's sort of like a mental health program, and it is just a 30-minute quick sort of immediate resources for immediate support for people all over the world. We had people signing in from Africa and Thailand and Japan and somewhere else. Yeah, it was great to see that people are taking this seriously. Even though in that 30 minutes I did the toilet cubicle meditation, they all thought it was hilarious, but you know. Amazing. So it's really just a top up. There's other courses that we run as well that are longer and go into deeper communication issues and more recovery and resilience practices. Because I could just talk about this for days. Like I have so much to offer.
Good, amazing. Amazing what you do, Meg. I'm gonna maybe if you could send me a link to Take 30 to
sure.
Maybe I could just share it with my audiences and they could take a look.
Yeah, well, it'd be something that I'd customize now because I'm not running them every day or anything like that. I was just doing it for a month for International Women's Day. So now it would be more of a, if there was a group that wanted to do it, I would just set a date and time and do it individually. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. We might organize something like that then.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Yes, well, thanks very much for your time, Meg.
My pleasure.
And, we should catch up properly soon.
Yes.
All those personal details of our lives.
All the juicy
That's it. Well, thank you so much. I hope to chat to you soon and get to visit you in your beautiful, luxurious bus.
Just come and drink tea with me.
I will, definitely. All right. Thank you. See ya.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.